I love the music. The DJ is incredible.
The people are really awesome.
Headshot. Sit down. And do it. Pass out. Wake up. Made it.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. We're here at the Alchemix channel, and today we're going to be looking at the DJM S11 by Pioneer. It is a powerhouse of a battle mixer. It's definitely aimed at us kind of old school scratch guys. However, there's so much on here that can make it appealing for all sorts of different varieties of DJs. So let's start off with the price. $2,000 is steep for a 2-channel mixer, but this is the first DJM by Pioneer where they tried to really pack on more capabilities than just your standard 2 channels. And I'm grateful for that because Traktor has had a lot of options for us people using the Z2 to have little modular add-ons to control extra decks, and it's been amazing. But here with the DJM, specifically the S, the scratch lineup, the S9 and stuff like that, it hasn't been like that in the past. I will say this. I did try and hook this up HID with 2 turntables on the decks 1 and 2 and CDJs running HID 3 and 4. Unfortunately, the programming that they have inside that lets it control 3 and 4, it doesn't allow you to run HID CDJs that way. So I switched it up a little bit. I'm running one DVS, one CDJ here HID for deck 2, and then the turntable and the other CDJ, we're just running them standalone as inputs. But what that lets me do is have a million fallback die-hard options. If something happens, a MIDI connection my computer crashes, whatever happens, I can flip a switch and I can have a track queued up, press play, and I'm not going to be sitting there dead in the water, which if you've ever experienced that, you know that is the worst case scenario for a DJ. So here we are. We're just playing with CDJs. All the onboard effects, everything like that is built in. There's 22 built in on this thing. That's a lot. 15 of those are beat effects. So we got echo, backspin, all these things right here. And you don't have to be connected to your computer at all. That's onboard, and it sounds great over vinyl, over CDJs, whatever. And you can come into the settings. You can swap out all of those effects for so many other effects. I haven't checked out the whole library, but so far all of the stock stuff like has so many parameters you can tune. You got your dry wet knob here. It gives you a lot of the creativity and tweakability of the 900, but in a much smaller package. Speaking on the 900, that thing's almost 17.5 pounds. It's heavy, and I was expecting this mixer to weigh a ton like that too. It doesn't, to be honest. This thing feels very lightweight at about 11.5 pounds. That is a featherweight really kind of controller for how much hardware is packed in under here. And the touchscreen, at first I thought it might be a little superfluous. I'll be honest, I love it. I love it. Even the browsing feature from it, like you can basically just open it up. You have a little touch bar on the side to go through your whole library. It's intuitive. I love being able to basically stash my laptop somewhere nobody can see it. I don't even have to mess with it. It's all around. The effects you can apply with the XY axis. All this stuff is really, really impressive, and like I love it. There's certain things like doing like delays and break stops and stuff like that. Being able to see the waveforms and stagger them right on is awesome. Lots of really handy features there. And they didn't overdo it. It's not too complex. It's something, just go through the settings, look at the features, and you're going to know right away, like, okay, this is just the right amount of what I need and not a whole lot of that BS I don't. So right now, we can go ahead and we can apply echo with the paddles. But what's cool is each parameter, a 32nd, a 16th, a 8th, quarter note echoes. They're also on the pads too, so you can be playing it. You can just hit a pad if you know what amount of echo you want, and it's going to give that to you right away. So even standalone mode. If you're using it with 2 CDJs, it doesn't feel standalone. It feels pretty much equivalent to having software and all that. Like, it's really great. Got a lot of options here. I haven't even actually done anything connected to Serato yet.
Clap your hands, everybody! Hands, everybody!
I love the smooth echo. This little button here, right here, just basically turns your crossfader into an effect. Anytime I close it, it's going to give me a little bit of an echo. And you can adjust the settings on how much of a beat parameters and all these things within the settings here. Is so simple and intuitive. Like, you don't have to be really familiar with DJ hardware or software to kind of quickly get going with all the different settings you can have for the effects on this rig. It's amazing. So now we're going to just flip over here. And now we're running Serato. We're in the zone. We got so many options here. One of the biggest reasons I didn't get an S9, I knew this was a huge complaint and they never fixed it. You could only have one pad mode for all of the buttons. So if you're on hot cues, both banks are on hot cues, and it made it hard for you to be able to cue on this deck and maybe do a loop roll or something on the other deck. And they've completely changed that. Not only can you now do different pad modes, we got hot cues here, we got roll here. You can actually just hit 2 buttons and you can give yourself both a roll on the top, and then the bottom is saved loops. I don't have any saved loops on that track, but you can imagine how that can be really helpful in certain ways. Like, let's say you want to do something on your sampler, but you also want your hot cues at the bottom. Now you got both all in one convenience, and you can set up 2 completely different parameters for these pads over here. Something that I will say is kind of cool with CDJs, you also have the hot cues on the deck right here. So you could have your hot cues there, your sampler, and a loop roll, all at the touch of your fingers within just a couple buttons here. That's a lot of options. Like, it's really amazing how many different ways they've given you to be creative. I'm going to say this and be honest, all right? Pioneer does this. They could have made a firmware update for the S9, which could have made different pad mode selections easy. Would have been a very simple firmware update. But that's not how Pioneer rolls. They're going to release a new model, charge a couple of $100 extra for it, and give you the features that they could have added through a firmware update. That's just their business model, unfortunately. So I'm going to show you one of my favorite features here. I'm not going to go over every bell and whistle on this thing because we just don't have time for that. But one of the coolest features we were talking about, stretching this 2-deck out to feel more like a 4-deck. So we're going to just bring up a beat. I'm going to throw in an acapella on the other side.
your damn hands
Wow,
up.
let's make a
That's
loop.
the anthem, get your damn hands up. That's the anthem, get your damn hands up.
Now we're just gonna
That's the
transfer
anthem,
these
get
off
your
of these
damn
channels so
hands
that
up.
we can
That's the anthem,
mix in
get
another
your damn
track.
hands up. That's the anthem, get your damn hands up. That's the anthem, get your damn hands up. That's the anthem, get your damn hands up. That's the anthem, get your
Now, if
damn
we go
hands
back,
up. That's the anthem, get your damn hands up.
we can stop our
That's the
decks 1 and
anthem,
2
get
because
your
this is
damn
now
hands
playing
up.
on decks
That's
3
the
and 4.
anthem, get your damn hands up. That's the anthem, get your damn hands up. That's the anthem, get your damn hands up. That's the anthem,
Previously,
get your damn
as like
hands
a
up.
DJ who
That's
likes
the
to do these kind of
anthem, get your
mashups and that
damn
kind of
hands
stuff,
up. That's the anthem, get your damn
I've
hands up.
struggled with
That's the
2
anthem,
channels
get
because
your
you
damn
have your
hands up.
acapella
That's
and
the
your instrumental.
anthem,
You have to
get your
basically
damn
give
hands
one up,
That's the anthem, get your damn hands up. That's the anthem, get your
and then
damn
you have
hands
to
up. That's the anthem, get your damn
mix out
hands
with
up.
kind of
That's the
a
anthem, get
boring
your
loop
damn hands up.
until you can
That's the
cue up the
anthem,
next track
get
and
your
have it
damn
ready.
hands up. That's the anthem.
And the beauty of this setup here is that now you can open up one channel and you can just begin to mix in your next track, or you can open up both and you can go into another acapella instrumental mix. Like, it gives you a lot of cool options with this new deck swap feature. Is a big deal. It's awesome that you can do that. However, I wish that Pioneer, Serato, I'm not sure who's to blame exactly. I wish you could have some sort of a switch inside that would let you change from internal deck swap mode to allowing you to do HID with CDJs for 3 and 4. That would be dope, because at that point we would basically have 4 full functional channels, and that would be superior, especially with the screens for browsing on the CDJs. Like, that would be an awesome option for a lot of us who like to do 3 and 4 decks. But again, Pioneer's model, chances are they won't do that till we get a S13 and then charge us extra money for that kind of stuff. But overall, other than that, there's not very much I can say negative about this. The Crossfader, I didn't really like the Mag 4 on the 900 NXS2. I thought it felt a little clunky in comparison to an Innofader. I love my Innofaders. The Z2 has all Innofaders, buttery smooth, really tight, like cut corners and stuff. This is the first one, Mag 4, I think is what it is. I love it. I love it. It is better than an Innofader. You can adjust the feeling on the front here. The amount of tension on it is really nice for some people that like to flick the Crossfader all the way across to the other side and stuff like that. It's got some really good feels to it. But the cool thing is when you download the software from Pioneer, the drivers, there's a little app for just your DJM S11, and you can go in there and you can adjust the Crossfader curve settings so tight. It's amazing. Like, I love it. I can't tell you how good this Crossfader really feels. You got reverse switches on the line faders. You got curve changing. Like, the front of this thing, the whole front panel is very busy. I love they have a rotary knob on the front panel for the auxiliary inputs. Like, that's a very handy, accessible kind of volume situation for your aux channel. Really, like, onboard effects, I don't think there's anything that sounds better. It's steep. It's not cheap. Like, look at the S7 if you're thinking, dang, that's expensive. And I'm sure that's an incredible piece of hardware too. I personally I like the slightly more rugged build quality and chassis of like their top of the line products, and I will be hauling this thing around everywhere. So this is gonna be my new preference. I haven't been on Serato for a long time. Like, I'll be honest, like it's been a long time. And I really enjoy coming back to it now, having a little bit more experience, having a little bit more of a kind of understanding of what's possible. I loved the X1 and the remix decks and Tractor. It's all great. But like, if you set yourself up right, you can do everything that you can in that on a smaller scale within Serato. Like, inside of my sampler, I have an 808 drum kit. So I can just take the bass out of this instrumental I'm playing right now. Just so many ways that you can get creative with it. Inside of my sampler too, like I have just loops and stuff that'll auto loop all. The amount of creativity that you can do with like this type of hardware, it's really limited mostly just by your understanding of it. So a lot of you guys who are brand new looking at this stuff thinking like, that's awesome, I'm gonna buy this machine, I'm gonna pull it out the box, I'm instantly gonna be able to do all this kind of stuff. To be honest with you, like it takes a lot of practice, a lot of time, mostly collecting like a library of like these samples, these loops, and like knowing your library and how to use it, where to apply it. Like it's not something, having this incredible equipment, this hardware, this software, at the end of the day, it is meaningless, it's lifeless. It cannot create beautiful music. It requires an artist, somebody with the talent, the vision to come along and breathe the life into it and create this. Like it's a powerful tool, but it's worthless. It's a hunk of scrap until like somebody comes along who's taken the time to learn the tool and the instrument, who can create a symphony with it. So don't get frustrated and think, you know, I would recommend if you don't own a Tractor Z2, dollar for dollar, start there. It's an incredible battle mixer. The one like big failing for me, it doesn't have onboard effects that you can put on vinyl, and I often play like standalone. So this mixer is a big step up for me, but like price-wise, I would, if I didn't already own a Z2, like that's where I would start again. And I'm never going to get rid of my Z2 because of the level of creativity that is possible within that ecosystem. It's insane. Their sync system is excellent. Like I love it. However, for standalone battle mixer kind of stuff, you can't really top this. Like it's incredible. So I hope some of you found this helpful. I hope all of you are doing well, getting through this tough time. Is something that I see hope on the horizon. I know that we need to be live streaming. We need to be continuing to adapt to the modern climate that we're in. But we can do that, and we can thrive in spite of this. So I love you guys. Keep it up, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.
Thank you.